all, welcome back. Today the weather is currently just about holding. I think it's 10 o'clock, so we're off quite early. My dad is combining peas behind me. I've just come and dropped the tractor and trailer off. Peas are quite a slow crop, so you're not filling tractors and trailers as quickly as if you were cutting wheat, for example. So I'm going to leave the trailer here for him just to tip stationary, and then I'm going to walk back home and crack on with some jobs. I'm only, well, you can see the farm, farm about there. So I'm only a couple of fields away. So I'm going to crack on with some other jobs, but I'll just show you the peas and why they're going to be a really, really difficult job for my dad to cut. Pretty much all the peas are flat to the ground, so the line that's being cut is down there, and you can hardly see the difference between this side which has been cut and this side which hasn't. Now the problem is these are quite hard to get scooped up, and you can get blockages in the combine quite easily. The other thing, as you can see, is that when they go down, lots of peas fall out, and then the peas are now growing again. So obviously every pea which has fallen out or grown is a pea which we won't be harvesting. So as you can see, I mean, combines probably look like they go very slowly all the time, but it's a very slow job in these peas. At this dog just sitting behind me waiting for me to film my video. You are good, aren't you? You are good. Good boy. Oh, good lad. So well behaved, aren't you? I say that, he's probably going to chase a hare on the way home, but no, he's so good. Good lad. In one of my previous videos, I talked about moving sheep out of this field so that we could spray the thistles, and I just want to show you a few days on, a week on, whatever, I have no idea what day it is, how the thistles are faring. So you can see behind me that there was a patch here and they're all starting to wither down and die. I think one really important thing to note is how targeted these products are. As you can see, the thistles here are dying down, but the grass is absolutely fine. And that's why we use the products that we do. They are so specific, they are so targeted, and we're only controlling what we want and need to control. We've just brought these sheep up to put Raddle on the tup. He wouldn't let us get near enough in the field. And so now we thought we may as well take the chance to get the sheep through the footpath, and then they're out onto the dry concrete outside there. We are currently on some land away from home, and couldn't look less like a harvest day if we tried, but all being well, we're on for a finish today. However, I'm actually just not holding out hope in the weather. We've been quite lucky and had a pretty good settled period really to crack on. We had a bit of a lull in the middle of this period. Big heavy day of rain which stopped us. As it stands, we haven't put anything through the dryer, which I know a lot of farmers would be very envious of that position. We've just managed to get stuff at the right time. Just had that bit of sun when we needed it, and I know that some people have not been that lucky at all. It does save us a lot of time and a lot of money when it comes to drying, and just the shuffling around of getting corn through the dryer as well is quite a big job if we're quite full up, which we are in all our kind of different sheds. I guess the thing with harvest though is that once we've finished harvesting, that doesn't mean that we can have a rest. We've still got to get the crop ready for next year. So Ralph here, good boy. So that could be, well, in some videos I think I've talked about the fact that we might need to be ploughing some fields. So it's land work and it's getting the crops drilled, yeah, for next year's harvest. So we've always got an eye on the future. You can't just kind of rest now and think, oh yeah, we're doing okay. there's a lot more to it. One thing though that is a big relief is that we got our sheep dipped again this week. Now, we didn't plan to dip them again. Ralph, wait. We didn't plan to dip them again. Ideally, one dip would have been enough to keep the flies off. However, with the amount of rain that we had, the dip manufacturers have said basically it's pretty much just washed off sooner than in kind of perfect conditions. It's a big relief to know that whilst we're away doing things like this, we don't need to worry about maggots. Yes, you always keep your eye on them and you're always watching for any problems that may arise, and we're still checking them a minimum of once a day, but usually twice. But we don't have to be thinking, gosh, are they going to get maggots? I think I might have jinxed it by saying we might be on for a finish today. It's just started raining. Oh dear, not ideal, but hopefully it's just a few spits and we can carry on going, or hopefully it'll just blow off. It is quite windy, but yeah, not ideal. I have to say we've been watching showers all around, but we are very nearly about to finish harvest. Gosh, I don't know how to describe this harvest. I think it'll just be quite a big relief to get all the grain in the shed, not having to dry any of this stuff. It may need drying once we get it back properly and test it, but yeah, what an absolutely massive relief it's going to be. I think a lot of people have struggled this harvest. I would consider ourselves quite lucky. Yield hasn't been amazing everywhere, but here we go, nearly about to finish. You can see this is another field where we're chopping the straw. That's been the story of the year really for us. Baled a bit, chopped most of it, all down to the weather. I think probably weather's going to play more and more of a part in farming, well, in life really, but in farming, and we're probably just going to have to get better at dealing with it, whether that's varieties, whether that's rotation, etc. We just got to keep dealing with what is thrown at us. The rain really is, I think, just about to start. Not sure if you can see over in the distance, it looks like it's really about to close in from over there. Not necessarily the backdrop we'd want to be finishing harvest against. It would be lovely to be against blue skies, bright sunshine, but unfortunately that's not going to happen. Go. Harvest 2023 finished. What a year it's been. We'll just get this tipped and then I'll be getting a sheet on that trailer to take it home. Well, this is a bit of a different job for me to usual. I am drilling. I've drilled once before, it was a few years ago. Usually my dad does it, but he's starting to get me trained up. This field was only harvested a few days ago and we are drilling a cover crop into here. So that cover crop mix has phacelia, vetch, some oats, some radishes, and the idea of a cover crop is basically to give cover over the soil, so that green cover, but also the different plants in there have different rooting properties. So the idea is that they're going to improve soil structure and things like that. But we're going, touch wood, it's going okay. My dad has obviously been on the tractor with me for a bit at the start just to show me a few buttons and how bits and bobs work, but he was very keen to tell me how different it is, me learning to drill with GPS, everything basically automated, compared to when he learned to drill The straight lines were obviously extremely difficult to keep, and a lot less technology at play when he started learning. Obviously I am very much still learning, hence why I am drilling cover crops, and it's also a field which isn't on the roadside and it's away from home, so if there are any misses, which inevitably I'm not perfect at making sure the drill's drilling straight away when I turn round, so there's just a few timing things which I'm learning and practicing, but yeah, you can't be perfect straight away. Well, if you are, you're a better tractor driver than I am, but as I was saying, very lucky with the kind of technology side of what's on this tractor. So you'll see the straight lines that are created. I'm going across the tram lines from last year, but you can see where has been drilled, it's painted in. I am not steering at all, that's all done on the GPS, and basically this M1 and M2 button, that is all automated. So at the end of the field I press M2 and it lifts up the machine, turns off the fan, and then when I turn back round following the lines on here so I can pick which one I'm going to, I then press M1 and then that starts off the process all again. So genuinely it is very simple once I've got my turning on the headlands sorted. As I mentioned, this screen is showing where I have been, so where's been drilled. This screen here is kind of the drill box, so you can see the fan speed, the seed rate per hectare. This bit here would tell me where to put tram lines in, but those tram lines aren't needed in cover crops. And then probably struggle to see this screen on my phone, but that's the camera inside the hopper of the drill to see how we're doing for seed levels. But you can definitely see straight lines which are created, which definitely make my life a lot easier. The good thing about having the GPS is that I can turn around and have a look how the machine is working, and considering we have had a bit of rain this week and this isn't the best field, pleased with how that's working. This box just here shows basically the tolerance that I'm working on, so how in line with the GPS and the other lines that have been drilled. So actually, on the whole, it is extremely accurate. And you can see that there's very few white bits on here. There's a little white wobble just down there, and I think that's because there was quite a big tram line where a tractor had gone through it when it was wet, so it almost pushed it out of line when we went across that. My first job this morning is to feed the tups and top up their raddle, but they're being so unfriendly. So one of them is the new one, and he's probably not quite as friendly as the old ones we had, so it is a bit of a challenge getting him to come close. So I'm here with the food and he is over there, and he's just not wanting to come near me. The other one is fast asleep over there, and he is definitely asleep because I can see him breathing and see his ears moving, but this one is just not having any of it. I've also got my little shadow behind me just waiting. He's so good. Tup's done, apart from the one that I couldn't get near. In the end he did come for some food and he didn't really want me to put the raddle on, so I just thought the priority actually is keeping him well fed, so I'm not going to scare him off with the raddle. We will be moving to green raddle in a couple of days time, so that will be signifying the change in time, and therefore it gives us the next indication of when the slightly later landing ones will be, and we'll carry on with that with a couple more colours as well. This morning the seed dressers are here, so what they do is process the seed, the grain which is going to be used to be planted, and basically it goes through a cleaner, so gets rid of any chaffy bits, any bits which you wouldn't want to go through the drill, and so they're all ready to plant. So you can see it in action behind me. In the green trailer there, that's the seed that is to be dressed. It's taken up into this machine. I don't really know what it does in there, but I assume some kind of sieves and cleaners and whatever that it goes over. And then the loader then holds a big seed bag, and the clean seed gets deposited into there out of the dressing machine, and then it's all ready to go through the drill. This allows us to use on-farm grain to drill for next year's crop. Seed corn dressed and ready for drilling. As well as being cleaned, you will notice that this is now a red colour as opposed to the usual yellow of grain, and that's because it has a seed dressing on it. And with that, that's the end of my video for this week. If you enjoyed it, please do like and subscribe to my channel. Thank you as always for watching.